Hey everyone, this is Coach Jessie Rodriguez Melendez, and I am coming to you on this Wednesday morning on a really, really happy day. Allow me to be extra happy today. We've gotten some really great news um, from some family members, and so we're ecstatic today about what has the good news we've gotten today. And so, if you're joining me here, I decided to go on a couple of minutes early just so that I can ensure that you guys are here with me live. I had a couple of issues the last few days when I tried to go live on another platform. So, I just want to make sure that you guys can see me, you can hear me well. If you're here with me, please tell me that you're here. Tell me your name. Tell me where you're joining from. Also, if you're a coach, can you please let me know what type of coach are you? So, like, what sport do you actually teach or coach? And I'm gonna assume that's gonna be that you're working with the youth. I hope you're working with the youth because our youth need us more now than ever. And that's something that I will be talking about a lot about. This what I will be addressing a lot in the next few months. And it's my goal. My goal is to reach as much of the youth as possible using the expertise that I have learned through my sports business. And that is the topic of my discussion now for the last few days. A couple of days ago, I did a live and I spoke about why most coaches won't launch. If you didn't catch that one, go back and catch that one. That one was on Monday. Yesterday, I covered why you must launch. If you are a sports coach, I spoke about why now is the best time for you to actually launch. The youth really need us, guys. And so if you're a sports leader, I'm calling you out. I'm telling you to arise and take your positions so that we can create massive impact in our communities, massive impact with the future generations. And what a great way for us to help the youth than with sports. Sports are just so phenomenal. So, for those of you that may not be familiar with who I am, my name is Coach Jessie Rodriguez Melendez. I am the proud owner of the Baseball Training Institute, the Baseball Homeschool Institute, and now the Sports Business Institute. And I have now become super passionate about helping other coaches build and scale businesses that they probably have been dreaming about all their lives and just have never really known how. Or today's topic is fear, how many of them have not launched because of fear. And so today I'm going to talk about three tactics to combat fear because fear is um, not real. It's false evidence appearing real. But for some of us that have experienced fear, and I think if you're not human, if you haven't experienced fear, I'll talk about the fear that I felt when we were ready to launch in a little bit. But, a famous quote said by Franklin Roosevelt is that the only thing to fear is fear itself. And what I think a lot of people that may not understand the history of when he said that is that he actually said that during one of the toughest times in our history. If you don't know the history of Franklin Roosevelt, I'm going to encourage you to go look it up. It's inspiring, it's really inspiring. And so let me start by telling you that fear isn't always a bad thing, it's a feeling. We have to acknowledge it that want to keep us safe most of the time. Okay, so fear often comes to sort of protect us and keep us safe. However, when you don't address your fears, it can really mess with your confidence. Okay, and so it can keep you from accomplishing things or manifesting your dreams. And it even can take a toll on your mental health. Okay, if you're with me here and you've experienced fear, go ahead and drop a comment and tell me what kind of fear or what has fear kept you from that you would love to learn how to combat those feelings so that you can finally step out and grab hold of what life really has in store for you. So let me start with step number one. Okay, so step number one is put your fears, your feelings, because really fear is a feeling, put your feelings under a microscope, okay? And instead of suppressing it, here's something that I do. I actually write it all down, okay? I write down exactly what I'm afraid of, okay? What is it that I'm afraid of? And how is it making me actually physically feel? What are some of the side effects that I have felt from fear? So, tension is one of them, right? Your body becomes tense. Nausea. Have any of you ever experienced actual nauseous, like you feel nauseous because of a fear? I know I have. Sweating. I start to sweat whenever I'm, facing fears. Shaking. That's happened to me where I physically shake if something has made me that afraid. Have you ever been on a roller coaster and you get to the top and you're like, oh man, I know what's coming, I know what's coming, I know what's coming. And there's all that built up tension in your body. And then suddenly you drop and you're like, oh my God, it's exciting. All those feelings that you're feeling suddenly are rushed out of your body. And you're like, oh my God, I allowed myself to go through all that tension so that I can actually feel this moment of exuberance, right? So, those are real. I mean, you physically feel fear, right? If you're with me and you have physically gotten side effects from fear, from feeling fear, drop a comment. I want to know what you have felt, okay? Then I want you to ask yourself and write it down. Write it down. I do this. What are you missing out on because of it? Okay, so when I'm feeling fear, I receive it. I accept it. I don't suppress it. I accept it. I allow it to come to the surface and I feel whatever those feelings are. And then I actually go ahead and I write down what is it that this is trying to keep me from? What is it that I'm going to miss out on if I don't fight against this? If I don't fight against these feelings, what is it that I'm going to be missing out on? So, for example, my fear of learning how to launch our business at the beginning, this was almost 15 years ago now, when we started the TM Baseball and Softball Training Academy. We started in a little tiny 3,500 square foot facility in the inner city of the Bronx, New York. Everyone called us crazy. They thought there was no way this was going to work. There was no way that we were going to be able to sustain ourselves. No one was going to be able to afford it in that community. What were we thinking? And so, not only hearing that, but then also hearing myself say, you don't know anything about the sports business. You're a woman. How are you going to be received in the sports world? Are you going to be respected? Are you really going to be able to create an impact? Are you really going to be able to reach the youth the way you think you are? These are all things that I was literally saying to myself. And it was literally making me sick to my stomach. And so wrote that down. I sat down and I wrote that out. I said, what is this making me feel? My heart is racing. I'm too scared to take the next steps. I remember writing that down. I'm too scared to take the next steps. I'm never going to be able to do this. We're never going to be able to, really reach the youth the way we are dreaming of. This is all in our heads. Um, and then I went on to step number two. And this is step number two is very powerful. Okay. You put your fear into content. Okay. Into context. I'm sorry. Into context. And you write down, this is what I wrote down to myself. What is the worst thing that could happen? What is the worst thing that could happen? If I actually step out and I face these giants, these fears, what's the worst thing that could happen? And so obviously for us, it was like, it'll fail. We'll never, no one will really ever sign up. We won't have any members. We won't be able to sustain ourselves, and we'll have to close shop. And the truth is that we had already experienced that. we had other businesses, and for one reason or another we had to either the business, the location had shut down, or our backers weren't backing any longer, or whatever it was that was happening at the time. So I knew how to face that fear because I had already actually tackled that fear. So then I had to look at the facts, that I was considering, and what the fact that I was even considering it showed me that I was serious enough about it. Okay, so that's one of your clues. If you're considering something, that already shows that you're taking it seriously. Okay, so let that be one of the signs to yourself, like, hey, the fact that I'm actually taking this seriously um means that I'm on the right track here. So now let's do something to combat this fear, right? Which brings us to step number three. And step number three is I started to rationalize. Okay. I looked at everything, I had written it down. I literally asked myself, what are the odds of things not working out? And I saw that they weren't huge odds. I said, man, I started to ask different questions. What if this does work? What if we do start creating an impact? What if we do reach the youth that the way that we're dreaming about through this business? What happens if we can really start helping athletes achieve their goals, sign their first professional contract, go to college with a scholarship using their talents? And so I started to allow those feelings to create the excitement and the momentum that I was going to need to actually make this come to pass. And so, fear, this is really great for you guys to know this. Hey, Pablo, how are you? Thank you for joining me here live. Let me know where you're joining from and tell me if any of this has resonated with you. If you're a coach, what kind of coach are you? What sport do you teach? If you do teach a sport, or if it's something that you're dreaming about doing. If you're dreaming about starting your own youth sports coaching business, I'm going to tell you about a really great event that I'm going to be running next Monday. So hang with me here till the end. So here's something that's really interesting and something that everyone should want to know. Okay. Fear often comes from the right side of your brain. Okay. That is the emotional side of our brain. So, what you need to start doing is recognizing the fear, then write it all out, then rationalize it, and then force that fear over to the left side of your brain. Okay. Then you need to take a step back and force yourself to relax. Okay. Stretch if you need to, take a long, deep breath or a long walk. Get your breathing steady and your blood pressure down. I know that that's something that I often have to do because even now in business, after 15 years in business, fear tries to creep in every single day with something that's going on. With I am a creator by nature. I am constantly creating. And now that I'm helping other coaches build and scale their businesses, I'm constantly in creation mode. And so fear constantly tries to sneak in. And so I release the tension from my body. I release fear. I physically say, I'm releasing this fear. I allow my body to relax. I get into a state of relaxation. And I face my fears by educating myself. And when I don't know something, guys, guess what I do? I go and seek out someone who does. And I ask for their help. I ask for help from those who have already combated their challenges and their fears in any particular area that I'm feeling challenged in. I often, I've had many, many, many coaches now that have mentored me throughout the years, a lot of business coaches, self help coaches, spiritual coaches, life coaches. I believe in coaching. You should believe in coaching if you're a coach, because why will your athletes come to you? Your athletes will come to you because they're looking to fast track their talents or their abilities, or seek you for help to take them to the next level. And so that's what coaches do. And so I seek out a coach. when I'm looking for, an area to combat that I'm feeling challenged in, I look for a coach. And so I am so on a mission to help other coaches because by reaching other coaches, that means I'm reaching more youth. And that's really always been my goal is how much of the youth globally can I help? Can I impact? Can we make a difference in their lives? I'm so proud to say of everything that we ever accomplished in our business, the one thing when people ask, what are you most proud of? What I'm most proud of is that we helped through that little tiny 3,500 square foot facility over 100 of our athletes go to college with scholarships. That for me is what I treasure the most. We've had 5 or 6 signed professional contracts. Some reached very high levels in the sport. And that is really my biggest motivating factor with all of this. At the end of the day, this is what this is about, is me helping as much of the youth as possible. And so now I'm looking to duplicate myself by sharing all of my expertise and how I built our business and how I scaled it to over multiple 6 figures. This being our full-time job. I mean, this is all we do. And so, about 6 months ago, I started the Sports Business Institute, where I now help other coaches build and scale their talents and expertise and leverage themselves so that they can obviously help the youth. They can create a real income for themselves. And listen, guys, with everything that's happening in our world right now, there's never been a better time. If you didn't see yesterday's live, please go catch it because I talk more in detail about why right now is the best time ever. If you've ever dreamed about being a youth sports coach and launching a business with lots of love and creating huge impact, there's never been a better time. And I've been teaching a lot of these coaches that are coming to me about how they can start their own baseball homeschool um, programs right within their organizations, which one creates massive, massive income, and two, it helps all of our youth now because let's face it, our educational system has failed, especially the public school system has failed the youth with, they're not, their inability to be able to really teach students online. I mean, this is the truth. And so, one of the programs that I developed in 2018 was the Baseball Homeschool Institute, and it was the first of its kind ever. Again, I was called nuts that it would never work, and now I'm being called to and asked how can I do that? And so I want to invite you next Monday, the 23rd. I am hosting a really awesome event at 11 a.m. If you want more information, you will need to register. It is a closed event, so you would need to register. It is a free event, so there are limited spots. I'm going to encourage you, or I'm going to ask you to just hashtag the word launch in this broadcast. I will be more than happy to send you the registration information. I am going to ask you to please share this with as many coaches as you can. I'm looking to make huge, huge strides in this. I really want to help a lot of coaches. I'm going to be hosting the event next Monday, and it is called 6 Simple Steps to Launch Your Youth Sports Coaching Business. And so if you are a coach, I'm personally inviting you, come join me. This is for female coaches. This is for, female men. This is for any kind of sport, baseball, softball, soccer, hockey, football, swimming, boxing, karate, bicycling, whatever, any kind of sport. Actually, this could even be for anyone who actually works with the youth. If you work with the youth, if you're a music teacher or an art teacher or any kind of coach that works with the youth, I am inviting you to come join me next Monday, the 23rd at 11 a.m. For our closed event, 6 Simple Steps to Launch Your Youth Sports Coaching Business. I look forward to seeing everyone then. I hope that some of this has been helpful. If it was, just let me know. Leave a comment. If you're catching the replay later, just hashtag replay. That way I know that at some point you did catch this live. And again, I hope that you all go and make it an amazing day on purpose. And remember to always remain unbeatable. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow again. I'll be here live at 12. See you then.